Lebanon's parliament elects Army Chief General Joseph Aoun after a more than 2 years vacuum at the country's top position. Israeli occupation attacks on the Arbican school in northern Gaza kill 3 and injure 25. The UN warns that over 125,000 refugees who returned to Syria last month are facing dire conditions. It's 8 p.m. Cairo local time, and you're now watching Qnews. We begin tonight's bulletin with the latest developments in Lebanon.
كل المستهدفين هن مدنيين.
وضع شيء مرعب، شيء بخوف.
The newly elected president of the Republic, General Joseph Aoun, has arrived at the presidential palace. The road to the palace was lined with large crowds celebrating the arrival of the elected president. The family of the newly elected president of the Republic, General Joseph Aoun, has also arrived at the presidential palace. Lebanon's Army Chief General Joseph Aoun has been elected president after a more than 2-year vacuum at the top position in the country. Aoun, who has been commander of the Lebanese Armed Forces since 2017, secured 99 votes out of the 128 during the second round of a parliament session called by the Speaker, Nabih Berri. During the first round of the voting, Aoun received 71 votes, short of the 86 required to become president. In the second round of voting, Shbili Malat earned 2 votes. 9 MPs voted with a white ballot, 5 votes were deemed cancelled, and several MPs voted for the slogan Sovereignty and Constitution. The official spokesman for Egypt's presidency has stated that President Sisi extended his warmest congratulations to the Lebanese president on his election, stressing Egypt's belief in the Lebanese president's ability to lead the country. Ambassador Mohammed Shinawi, the official spokesman, stated that President Sisi affirmed Egypt's ongoing support for Lebanon's sovereignty and its readiness to assist Lebanon in ensuring stability, overcoming challenges, and starting a new phase of security and peace. In his first remarks after being elected, Lebanon's new president, Joseph Aoun, has emphasized the resilience of his nation. President-elect Aoun also outlined his vision for restoring order and stability, calling on all citizens to uphold the rule of law. Aoun declared that the country will be under the rule of law and that there would be no smuggling, drug trafficking, security voids, judiciary interference, protection, or favoritism. President Aoun has pledged to prioritize economic reforms and national stability. He highlighted the resilience of the Lebanese people, vowing to rebuild areas damaged by Israeli aggression and to protect depositors' funds, a critical concern amid Lebanon's financial crisis. President Aoun also committed to expanding social safety nets, improving education, and safeguarding Lebanon's free market economy and individual property rights. Lebanon's parliament convened to elect a new president, aiming to resolve over 2 years of political deadlock. Despite General Joseph Aoun's failure in the first round, he secured 99 votes out of the 128 in the second round to secure the presidency. The details.
The Lebanese parliament has convened to elect a president, a move that could end the political crisis that has gripped Lebanon since 2022. After the first round of voting failed to secure enough support for Army Commander General Joseph Aoun, Parliament Speaker Nabih Berri adjourned the session for 2 hours of consultations. Aoun, who required a backing of 86 out of 128 lawmakers, fell short in the first round, receiving only 71 votes. Since President Michel Aoun's term ended in October 2022, Lebanon's parliament has struggled to elect a new president amid power struggles between rival political factions. General Joseph Aoun, who turned 61 on Friday, has served as commander of the US-backed Lebanese army since 2017, steering the military through a devastating financial crisis that crippled Lebanon's state institutions after the collapse of the banking system in 2019. Under his leadership, US aid continued to flow to the army, part of a broader US strategy to support state institutions and curb the influence of Hezbollah. The prolonged presidential deadlock has deepened Lebanon's economic and social crisis, eroded public trust, and threatened both internal and regional stability. With Aoun now elected, he will be able to appoint a prime minister who will then form a government to take over from the caretaker administration. With the world and region closely watching, the outcome of this election is crucial for Lebanon's future, as it will determine the leadership needed to navigate the country's crises and restore stability.
And for more analysis, we now move to Mark Summers in our newsroom. To you, Mark.
Thank you, Mona. So for more on these political developments in Lebanon, we are joined from Beirut by the journalist and political researcher, Dr. Iman Shweikh. Thank you very much for being here with us on Q News. So what are the challenges that the new president might face in the upcoming weeks and months?
Good evening for you and for all the viewers. Actually, there are a lot of challenges that the new president will face today and in the coming days and months and maybe years, because as we know, Lebanon is facing and has faced the biggest economical crisis since 2019. Moreover, we all know that it has been a month that Lebanon ended the war. At least we still have 10 days to say that the war has ended and there will no resumption for the war. And I think that electing President Aoun, the army commander, will affirm that Israel will no longer need to resume the war or do another attack on Lebanon, because actually all the circumstances that led to electing a new president were external but not internal, and specifically there was a critical American role in this process, because Washington knows that if there will be no new president, Lebanon will be threatened by another war again. So I think the first challenge for President Aoun is to make sure that the agreement with Israel will be implemented in the coming few rest days, and after the new American president will start his presidency. So this is the first one. And after that, for sure, we have the government, the shape of the government, and forming a new government, because we still have no government, as it was just for a temporary government. So as he affirmed he said that he will do the consultation for formation the new government as soon as possible. And according to the information that I got, those consultation will start the next week. So he will see the opinions of all the parties in Lebanon about the new prime minister, who will be not an enemy, as he said, as general on, commander on, or president on, as he said. He will not be an enemy for the president as before, but he will be a partner in building a new Lebanon, a new state, where everything related to military and weapons and resistance will be under the state and under law. And he affirmed also that everyone in Lebanon will be under law and and he also noted that there will be no intervention in the judiciary. There will be separation between the judiciary and politics, and that led to many crises in Lebanon, especially for the explosion of the port in August 4, 2020, and that still till now did not show the people responsible for the biggest explosion in the world. So and after that we will talk about also the reformation, the economical reformation, especially regarding the negotiations with the MIF, and the way the government or the president, with in cooperation with the government and other parties, will take in order to assure that the deposit, the Lebanese citizens' deposit that they were stolen, will be get back. So I think it's a very complicated process, a very challenging, but the good point that all the international community is supporting Lebanon, and they agreed on electing president on, especially Saudi Arabia, because now for sure the Saudi role is very important and very critical in supporting Lebanon, specifically in rebuild a process after what happened due to the war.
Well, we've talked about the economic situation. We've talked about the ceasefire, and these are the things that are going to be in the new president's in-tray in the coming days. But how do you think Aoun's presidency will have an effect on the social situation in Lebanon?
Yeah, what we've seen from Lebanese citizens, also from those who belongs to Shia Dio, who were opposing or who weren't with the electing Joseph Aoun, their nominee or the person that they were supporting for to be a president were Slimane Frangieh. He's a Christian, so and Marouni for sure, and he was his ally, but although they weren't satisfied and they wanted Slimane Frangieh, but I think there is all the Lebanese are happy today and comfortable, because it's really a new phase in Lebanon's history. We never had such a miserable situation in Lebanon all over the Lebanese history. So I think everyone is welcoming President Aoun and feeling that the new face in Lebanon is going to be totally different, especially after the withdrawal of Iran and the finishing or the end of Iranian influence on Lebanon, and also the We had also, like 20 years ago, the Syrian influence in Lebanon. Now we will have like an internal control from the internal parties, hopefully, but with the support of Saudi Arabia, because Lebanon is an Arab country, so it will need the support of Arab countries, especially Saudi Arabia.
And let me ask you, what are the prospects for reform in Lebanon under the new president's leadership?
Reform, you mean economically?
But not just economically. When it comes to the rule of law, you mentioned the rule of law, as did the new president, and in terms of governance as well.
Actually, I didn't hear the first part of the question. It was a little bit unclear.
No problem. The prospects for reform I was talking about. What are the prospects for reform when it comes to the rule of law?
Actually, everyone who watches the situation, the political situation in Lebanon, know that politics control all the aspects in Lebanon, and specifically the very crucial aspect, which is the law and the judiciary. So, you can't imagine that criminals or mafias or people who breach the law are not showing because they are covered by politics. So the first reforming is necessarily will be the law, and that's what General On referred to. He said that everyone will be under the law, no matter what party or what political parties he or she belongs to.
That's right.
So if we apply this, we will assure that we will really build the state, and we will have the trust of the international community.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Q News. Dr. Iman Shweikh joining us from Beirut. Thank you very much. And it's back to you, Mona.
Thank you so much, Mark, for the analysis. And now we move on to the latest developments in Gaza. The Palestinian Civil Defense has stated that the Israeli military attacked the Arbakan school in northern Gaza, killing 3 people. The statement added that the deaths included a woman and a child, and that 25 others were injured in the attack. And moving to the Gaza Strip, Gaza-based health authorities have confirmed that the Palestinian death toll from the ongoing Israeli aggression on the Gaza Strip has surpassed 46,000, with more than 109,300 others wounded. They added that the Israeli occupation army committed 3 massacres against families in the Gaza Strip over the past 24 hours, killing 70 civilians and injuring 104 others. The Israeli occupation forces have detained at least 15 people, including former detainees and siblings, in the occupied West Bank during the last 24 hours. The Detainees and Ex-Detainees Commission and the Palestinian Prisoners Society added that the occupation carried out field investigations of about 50 citizens in the towns of the Hebron Governorate who were later released. The occupied East Jerusalem governorate says that during the past year, Israel has killed at least 35 Palestinians in East Jerusalem, including 14 children. The governor added that at least 168 people were also injured in the governorate by live and rubber-coated metal bullets, severe beatings and tear gas attacks. Additionally, the report stated that Israeli settlers carried out about 159 attacks in the governorate in 2024, including 19 attacks involving physical harm. The Israeli occupation forces have withdrawn 2 days after the aggression on the city of Tulkarm and its 2 camps, causing widespread destruction to infrastructure and Palestinian property. Palestine's news agency reported that the occupation bulldozers continued destroying infrastructure in the camp, including water, electricity and internet network, particularly in the center and northern areas. Additionally, occupation soldiers raided numerous homes in these neighborhoods, conducting violent searches, detaining residents and turning some homes into military barracks and sniper positions. Other residents were expelled from their homes. The Organization of the Islamic Cooperation has condemned posts made by Israeli authorities on its official accounts on alleged maps of the region that include Arab lands of Jordan, Lebanon and Syria. The organization affirmed in a press statement its rejection of these provocative Israeli practices that coincides with the escalation of crimes and organized terrorism practiced by extremist settlers and the Israeli occupation forces throughout the occupied Palestinian territories. It also called on the international community to assume its responsibilities towards putting an end to all violations and crimes of genocides practiced by the occupation for 15 months against the Palestinian people. Israeli National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir has urged police to demolish inhabited homes in Palestinian towns in the 1948 territories, citing a lack of permits. Israeli media reported that Ben-Gvir instructed officers from the National Unit for Coordination of Enforcement Operations responsible for demolishing homes to target inhabited homes during several meetings with law enforcement representatives. He justified the actions as a means of demonstrating the ability to rule and increasing deterrence. Moving on to Syria, UN humanitarians have warned that more than 125,000 refugees have returned to Syria in the past month, full of hope after years of exile, only to find themselves confronted by desperate conditions. The UN Refugee Agency, the UNHCR, said that many families have little shelter and few economic prospects. The agency also called for the international community to move from words to actions to help the country's most vulnerable returnees urgently. And in the United States, wildfires have continued over Toledo City and the Pacific Palisades neighborhoods of Los Angeles, killing at least 5. Wildfires surrounding Los Angeles spread to the Hollywood Hills after other fires in the area destroyed hundreds of homes and stretched firefighting resources and water supplies to the limit. Authorities said nearly 180,000 residents in Los Angeles are under evacuation orders, with nearly 200,000 other under evacuation warnings. As for Russia, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has said that Russian President Vladimir Putin would welcome U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's desire for contact, but said there has so far been no request for contact. Peskov said it would be more appropriate to wait for Trump to take office first. Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States on January 20th. The ceremony will take place in Washington, D.C., marking the peaceful transition of power from Joe Biden to Trump, who is returning to the White House for a non-consecutive second term. Well, that brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Here is what we've been covering. Lebanon's parliament-elect Army Chief General Joseph Aoun after a more than 2 years vacuum at the country's top position. Israeli occupation attacks on the Arbican school in northern Gaza kills 3 and injures 25. The UN warns that over 125,000 refugees who returned to Syria last month are facing dire conditions. This concludes our news bulletin for the hour. Don't forget to follow Qnews on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at Qnews EGY to stay informed. Many thanks for watching and stay tuned for more updates on Qnews.